Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater. And oh my God, the new James Bond trailer, No Time to Die, dropped today. And I'm not going to lie, I really liked it. I'm really sold on it. I can't wait to see it in April to get the final appearance by Daniel Craig as James Bond, a role he's been in since 2006. But unfortunately, this trailer has been met with some repercussions, some backlash all over the portrayal of a new 007 agent played by Lashanna Lynch, who's playing the character Nomi, a character of which we have quite literally no information about. But people out there are freaking out on the internet over this thing, calling it, oh my God, Bond got woke. Bond got woke. Oh my God, Bond. What happened? And hashtag not my Bond. Except she's not playing James Bond. She's playing 007. This isn't like when Michael Jordan retired from the Bulls and they retired the moniker 23. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, though, a lot of people out there are still really trying to run on this narrative, so I thought we would break it down as to why James Bond isn't woke. So first things first, let's go to Urban Dictionary to look here at the definition of what woke is, which is what most people are going to be pulling from if they Google it. Now, it says here it's the act of being very pretentious about how much you care about a social issue. And in regards to having a black female playing the new 007, that's not trying to play to a specific issue. That is just casting an actress in a role, and we know nothing about the character. So for people out there that claim to not be triggered over every single little thing that comes out, and they hate it when other people get triggered over things, they seem to get pretty triggered over this, even though they don't understand that in canon, as we know it now, James Bond wasn't the first person to ever play 007, and nor would he probably be the last. And so for that, we actually have to go and take a look at it, just in general, look at the plot, right? So the plot says this: in No Time to Die, Bond has left active service and is enjoying a tranquil life in Jamaica. His peace is short-lived when his old friend Felix Leiter from the CIA turns up asking for help. The mission to rescue a kidnapped scientist turns out to be far more treacherous than expected, leading Bond onto the trail of a mysterious villain armed with dangerous new technology. So that's right, it's just like a standard Bond movie. We've seen these kind of plots before, but this is Bond not as 007. He's retired from MI6. He no longer holds the moniker. He no longer has the license to kill. He really doesn't. However, in a book that came out last year from writer Anthony Horowitz, which was commissioned by the Ian Fleming Estate, called Forever and a Day. This is a James Bond novel with original material by Ian Fleming. And this is according to Wikipedia. This is the plot. It says it's a prequel to the events of Casino Royale, which was Ian Fleming's first James Bond book, which if you haven't read it, I really recommend. It was quite good. It says the book recounts Bond's first mission as a 00 agent, his status recently earned by killing a wartime traitor in Stockholm. Now, it's set in the French Riviera in 1950. Bond investigates the killing of the previous man designated 007 and resumes his final mission to determine what's behind the sudden lack of drug activity in the Corsican underworld. He develops an affinity for high-stakes casinos and fine hotels where he meets Joan, 16 Madame 16 Brochet, a former British operative who leads him to Corsica mob boss Jean-Paul Sipico. Everything appears to the point of morbidly obese Sipico, the head of a chemical company that serves as a front for his heroin business, but Bond discovers that a larger network of organized crime and an American multimillionaire named Irwin Wolf. So, I mean, look, it's a standard Bond story, right? But the idea there, again, Bond is investigating the killing of the previous 007. The previous 007. And coming over here even further into Wikipedia, talking about 00 agents in themselves, now, and especially with Horowitz's first book, Trigger Mortis, the author and the Fleming Estate were both eager for him to work on another. And like Trigger Mortis, which featured a story by Ian Fleming based on previously unpublished material for the unmade James Bond TV series. So Ian Fleming had written this, he adapted this story. This is what Horowitz did. He adapted this story from Ian Fleming. And he also got the approval and the okay from the Fleming Estate, making this very much canonical. It's very much canonical. But people out there are really not liking the fact that you've got Lashana Lynch playing the new 007. And here in this shot from the trailer, we can see that they are ultimately going to end up working together. The biggest complaint that I heard is when she tells Bond to stay in his lane, and people are like, "Whoa, man, whoa, you don't see that to Bond." And it's like, okay, okay, calm down. For one, like, you got to be a hard ass to be a double O agent, okay? And throughout the course of the film history and even the novel history, only a handful of agents have been discussed, and even the legacy of the agents have been discussed. There, in one of Ian Fleming's books, he says that there is a mandatory retirement of the age of 45 for a double O agent, and that in another book, it was actually said that M leaves it up to the agent to determine their own retirement date. So it really does, it really depends on who you're talking to. But the general canon as put forward now by the Ian Fleming estate, which, by the way, Ian Fleming has been dead for 55 years. 55 years he's been long gone. So at this point, what they've been moving forward with is considered canon. It may not be the canon you want, may not be your head canon, but it's canon nonetheless. This is where we find ourselves. And as people out there that are freaking out over Lashanna Lynch, saying, will she end up being the new Bond? Oh my God, is she going to end up playing this character? The answer to that is simply no, because this article came out last year where Barbara Broccoli, who basically runs Everything or Nothing Productions, the production company behind James Bond, the people behind the canonical series, she says that there is never going to be a female James Bond. And the reason why is that Bond is a male. Bond was written for a male, and there are aspects in Bond's DNA that come from the 1950s from Ian Fleming that will never, ever, 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 ever be sacrificed, meaning he will never be played by a female. That's just not going to happen. And so in the case of this character, in the case of Lashanna Lynch, we have to wait and see what happens. Now, I have my own theories and my own speculations, because they're going to want to obviously, they're going to screw with us a little bit. So, I mean, the last time we saw a double O agent was in GoldenEye, and 006 ended up being a double agent. Now, it's possible that they could be doing that here again, but I doubt it. If this is Daniel Craig as Bond's last outing before they end up going and doing a reboot of the entire series again for Bond 26, then it's possible that she could either be a good guy or be a bad guy, but I'm going to lean more towards the good guy prospect of it. But when you break it down, when you look at it, is this a woke movie by having a black female actress playing the character of 007? No, because if you know anything about how they find these particular people, they come from basically British military intelligence, right? These are like the hardcore of the hardcore British soldiers. And we know that it's not all men that do it. Sure, it's predominantly men, but to say that it's all men is just ridiculous. So people that are getting their panties in a twist over this need to just calm the hell down. James Bond isn't woke. This is not a pretentious take on social issues. Now, look, the movie could potentially run on that. They could have lines of dialogue about how, she's the first woman of color in the role, and if it's a line of dialogue, that's fine, But if they start beating you over the head with it, like the Batwoman trailer, then yeah, of course it's going to be woke. But for right now, based on what we know, based on who's behind it, based on everything else, obviously, this is not woke. Now, people out there might argue, what about Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the author or the writer that was brought in order to punch up the dialogue, and that she's probably going to punch up the script for the female characters like Moneypenny and the new 007 Nomi. Daniel Craig picked her. And again, everyone signed off on what she said, and we have literally no way of knowing what's in the movie. So people that are freaking out over this, you have to ask yourself, are they freaking out because they are legitimately freaking out, or is there some kind of financial incentive for them to be doing it? And at this point, especially in the YouTube game, I have to ask that question a lot when I look at these particular issues, because it comes up all the damn time. When people push negativity for negativity's sake, you have to ask yourself that question. So no, looking at all the information of it made available for No Time to Die, it's not woke. It just happens to have a black actress in this particular role. And if that bothers you, then that's something you need to address with yourself. Ask yourself, why does it bother you? I personally am freaking excited for it. I want to see Bond. This is a Bond movie. This is a Bond movie. This is going to be the final one, and it's got to be better than Spectre, hopefully. So hopefully it will be that. But anyway, look, I do want to hear your thoughts. I do want to hear your opinions on this. This is definitely something that a lot of people are going to want to be discussing. They're going to want to be talking about. And I am looking forward to your dialogue. Whether we agree or disagree, let me know down in the comments. We'll talk about it. As always, you guys can find me on Hollywood After Dark doing a commentary. You guys can call in and we can have it out there, or you can come into the chat. You can find me on Twitter, my link right there, right down in the bottom left corner. You guys can follow me. We can have conversations. I want to hear your thoughts. Please be sure to like the video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to hear more, and I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day, and peace out. This video is supported by patrons like you. If you'd like to become a patron, please head over to patreon.com/Matt Jarbo.